what the Church of Scientology is so afraid of.
This is SPTV.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Let me grab, figuratively, not literally, Mark.
Hey, get your hands off me.
Good job, Mike. That was excellently done.
I did it perfectly
You
this
did.
time.
That was
You did.
amazing.
I am one skilled video technician. Oh, I like that laugh, Claire.
What?
I like that laugh.
Yeah, we like that
about
laugh,
the skilled video technician. Yeah, right.
Okay. Let's see who we've got here. Give a few minutes for the notifications to get out to everybody while we just yammer for a few seconds here.
Okay.
We got
Question.
oh wow, that was
Is
fast.
Aaron okay?
Okay, I have an official statement. Let me look at the statement. Hold on. Okay. I did. I saw we jumped in here a few minutes before this live and we saw the comments. And so I messaged Aaron and I said, we are about to do a live. There are already tons, all caps, of questions on where you are. Official statement equals ? Oh, been out of town this weekend. Forgot my mic at home. LOL. Back tonight. Videos resume tomorrow. That is the exact message that I received from the AA run. So everybody, I mean, holy moly. The guy doesn't do videos for 2 days and the whole world's coming to an end. But it's good, though, that we're here tonight to take up the slack that's being left behind. Okay?
Everyone needs a break every once in a while.
In the wake of AA Ron.
Yes, we will. That's a big, giant
hole
seat to fill.
Yeah, he does leave a very large hole when he moves away from wherever he was.
Yep.
Okay, so we got people from all over. I just started a whole bunch here just because some of them were interesting. Newfoundland, Canada,
Wow.
Arkansas, Ottawa, Minnesota, West Virginia, Peru.
I like to show them. You can still just go show and then hide. Shannon, hey, see, I like to show, especially when it's one of my Depeche Mode fan friends.
Yeah.
Ocala, Norway, Nova Scotia, Idaho, Munich, Michigan. Look at that.
Sweden, nice.
Okay, so how come I can't unstar these now?
Don't worry about all that, Mike. We take care of that.
I got it.
Taken care of in the background.
Yeah. Who's we?
Right?
The royal we.
It's done.
There we go. Oh, it's done.
When all three people do it, it goes really fast.
That's yeah.
Port
Instead
Macquarie.
of multitasking, it's multi-people doing the task.
Port Macquarie, on the coast of New South Wales, a beautiful place where I spent a holiday when I was a kid with my parents, and it is a magnificent place.
What's it called?
Port Macquarie.
Oh, I've been watching a documentary on this thing called the Snowy 2.0, this big hydro system that they've been building over there. And it's very interesting. I don't know why they don't just get batteries, but they seem to be spending $12 billion on making a bunch of tunnels through the mountains. That's not going very well.
That brings us up to speed on the documentary.
Oh, yeah.
That pretty much sums it up. They spent a ton of money. They've made not a lot of tunnels, and they could have done batteries. Coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Okay, well, a couple of things I just wanted to make mention of. I don't know if everybody is up to date, but this IAS event and our concurrent fundraiser. Well, our fundraiser for the Aftermath Foundation is actually on Saturday afternoon.
Yes.
The IAS event itself is on Friday in the UK.
Okay.
And as we all know, apostate Alex Ross Barnes has been creating some problems with respect to their permitting of their event and the permit that he requested for the march and demonstration. And we had a discussion about that, and I speculated that there's no way that they would close the road entirely. And they closed the road entirely. Oh,
Yes.
there is one
They have a pass. They get a pass.
They have to get a pass at the beginning of the road to St. Hill in order to be able to drive down it to park at St. Hill.
Each vehicle needs a pass that they have to have beforehand. So if you're coming from Sweden, chances are you're not going to have one of those passes. But each person who needs a pass has to have a pass, and they have to present that when they get to the gate. And the entirety of Old St. Hill Road will be closed to so the protest can move from the starting point all the way to the end point. And it is 100% closed during the time that they need to be able to drive there nonstop with like train loads of cars to be able to get to that joint.
Yeah.
So at least 1,000 cars, will need to travel down that road, and they're going to need a pass for each one of those. He did a video. I think he did a video about it yesterday or the day before. And as soon as he said that he had the road closed, I was like, wow, this is enough for me to speculate that David Miscavige would not come, or they would cancel it. That I would think. I don't know how you make this not the biggest just cluster of all clusters.
Well, I don't think that he can back out now.
Yeah.
But it's going to just be a cluster.
Exactly.
It's going to be an epic cluster.
Massimo Angius, the legal director of OSA UK, is not in for a good week.
No, I don't think anyone at St. Hill is in for a good week.
No. I will predict this. Whether they have the event, whether Dave shows up, regardless of any of that, I suspect there may be new SPTV content coming out of this event, and maybe some of the subsequent people that escape will tell us amazing stories.
Yes. Just on that subject of whether Captain Miscavige is going to show up. You know, there is a site that tracks private jets, and they track Tom Cruise's and Taylor Swift, like everybody.
Yeah.
Well, someone sent me a thing saying that one of Tom's jets, his Honda jet, left from Baltimore and flew down to Tampa yesterday.
Okay. Is the Honda jet the 5-seater or the 7-seater, Claire?
That's it. It's
7, I think.
7. It's a 7-seater.
7, but it's
7 or
odd
8,
because
maybe.
that plane is not designed to fly across the Atlantic. His G Gulfstream, that's the one that I have been on flying to England.
But the Honda jet could just be shuttling him to LA to get on the other jet, or vice versa.
Or to New York, or to wherever to meet up with the big one.
Hey, jet people. As soon as Dave finds out that his jets can be tracked as well, that's going to create another bunch of problems. But meanwhile, this video's got to get transcribed, and then OSA's got to put it in the report. And so in the meantime, tell us where all these jets are going from. There, it's the what's the place in? Is it Santa Monica Airport where Tom has his hangar?
Yes.
Because there's everybody knows.
But I'm not
all
sure Santa Monica. I'm not sure that the Gulfstream can take off from there. I think that has to go to either Van Nuys or Burbank.
Yeah. Wow.
Whatever.
Anyway, if you guys know the list of Tom's jets, we would. It would be amazing if we can get any of that intel. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
By the way, Mark, someone just put up a comment saying, "Hey, is Mark lost weight?"
I have lost weight. Thank you for mentioning that. I appreciate that. When you're a big fat
Looking
bastard,
good.
no one says, "Did you gain weight?" But when you lose it, they notice.
You're looking good, Mark.
I wish people would tell me on the other end. On the way up, I wish they'd tell me, "Hey, did you eat like 27 cheeseburgers earlier? You're looking a little."
Okay. All right. The topic of today's discussion is a very interesting document that someone sent to me that I had never seen before and is pretty rare in the world of Scientology, at least these days. And though this document is not from, recent vintage, in fact, What year is it from? Let me just look here. I'm just looking on my other screen. It's from 2010. But nevertheless, it is a document that
That's
Mark
pretty
and
late
Claire
for a
and
printed
I-
one, Mike. That's
I know.
pretty late for a printed one. They haven't been even printing them for years, much less distributing them.
But Mark and Claire and I are very familiar with this sort of document, and it is the findings and recommendations of a committee of evidence. And why this is so significant is that this is a committee of evidence that was convened on a woman and her ex-husband. And they were both named as interested parties. But the reason that the committee of evidence was convened was that the ex-husband had failed to pay child support for 4 years. And the woman got desperate and sought the assistance of child support services.
So
which
not
is
the police,
not the police,
just
not
social
a lawyer,
services.
social services, the people that you go to, the government agency in Florida that is supposed to assist people with collecting their child support.
Yep. And who is responsible for that?
Right.
Like
Yeah.
they're the
it's
they're the
just-
100% proper person to contact somebody if you're not getting your payments for child support.
Yep.
Right. Exactly. And this poor woman was charged with violating the high crime of having brought a civil suit against the Scientologist without clearing it through the International Justice Chief. Now, I'm going to show you this document, and we're going to sort of walk our way through it a bit because it is fascinating.
Yep.
I know it's very hard to read, and I will have this, as always, on my blog, but you can probably read the top here, a committee of evidence. Is there any way of making this bigger, Mark? Do you know?
If you send it to me, I can do it. Yeah.
Wait.
I don't know how
What do I
to.
do?
I can't walk you through the how to do it on your end, but if you look at the PDF in Adobe and then share your software screen of the Adobe, you can zoom in as much as you want, and it'll fill the entire screen. We could just read it paragraph by paragraph.
Yep.
If you send if you send me the PDF, I could do it, no problem.
Okay. I'll
If
send
you
it
want.
to you right now.
Okay.
Yep. That
Sorry,
will be
guys.
easier. No, it's all
This
good.
the way the layout is. Also, you can also use my super layout, which makes us bigger and the document a little bit smaller.
We need.
But
the
I can
opposite.
read it. Can you not read it, Mike? Or you?
Oh, I can read it. I was just
Oh.
worried that nobody else would be able to.
Well, if we put it up on your blog, they can read it on the blog. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
okay.
pretty small.
Yeah. Okay.
I
All
don't
right.
think we should I don't think we should waste the time to do it that way. If you
Okay.
can read it, you can read it.
Yep. Okay. So it's
Trust us. It says what we're saying it says.
Yeah. You'll be able to go back and compare what I read out to what you actually see. So I'm not going to put extra words in there.
Perfect.
FSO Ethics Order 12884-2, 23 February 2010, Committee of Evidence, Findings and Recommendations, Jamie McPhee, Interested Party, Kerry Regan McPhee, Interested Party. Okay, so Jamie McPhee is the ex-husband, and he basically skates because the real intent here is for her to be brought to justice for having gone to the authorities. So the findings of Jamie McPhee, he pleads guilty to placing Scientologists at risk because he didn't pay child support.
And then she went to the authorities, which is
Right.
the risk. The authorities getting involved is the risk part.
Yeah, but also that he placed his son at risk because he didn't pay child support.
Okay.
And his son is a Scientologist. So
Ooh, yes.
that's
okay.
placing Scientologists at risk.
Mhm.
Refusal to uphold discipline. He pled guilty. Instead of applying Scientology to resolve the situation, Jamie elected to adopt a false solution which he then continued for 2.5 years, despite its ineffectiveness in solving the problem.
Was the
False
false solution
solution.
not paying child
Not paying.
support? That's what Scientology calls a false solution. When something's wrong, that's a false solution.
Not
They
paying
can't just
a bill. That's
yeah.
a false solution.
say, pay your
Okay.
bills, you cheapskate.
And committing
Oh my gosh.
committing a problem, the interested party pled guilty by refusing to pay child support, ignoring the fact that he was in non-compliance with secular regulations for 2.5 years and not taking effective action to resolve the situation amicably. Jamie created unneeded problems for himself legally. This also placed on the lines of church staff members as an unhandled problem. Okay.
Wow.
High crimes, bringing civil suit against any Scientology organization or Scientologist, including the non-payment of bills, blah, 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 without attention of the International Justice Chief and receiving a reply. The interested party pled not guilty. The committee concurs. We then go to
Want me to flip the
Two.
page? Oh, you got it.
On October 17th, violation or neglect of any of the 10 points of keeping Scientology working.
Oh
The
my
interested
gosh.
party pled guilty on violating the following points: 5, applying the technology; 6, seeing that the technology is correctly applied; 10, closing the door on any possibility of incorrect technology. Jamie admits he did not use proper HCO lines in resolving the situation, and that he applied the wrong solution to the problem. Jamie's
Sorry, HCO is Hubbard Communication Office, and that's like the internal police of Scientology.
Right. Jamie's, quote, solution, unquote, violated church policy and Scientology technology.
Somebody skipped ahead. Sorry, I put it back. Somebody clicked ahead.
Oh, that wasn't me. And the precepts of the way to happiness. Okay.
So now, not to pick bones here, but did it actually say 10 knocking out or closing the door on any possibility of incorrect technology?
It
Yes.
did, yeah.
That is wrong. That's a typo.
Oh, what's it
Point
supposed
10
to say?
is closing the door on any possibility of incorrect application.
Of technology.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. It's neither here nor there. I'm just pointing it out.
Actually, I think the worst takeaway of that is that you know that that's a typo.
Well,
Everybody knows that.
Not everybody. I would have.
Well,
no, Mike and I did not notice at all. Not at all. We would have
that I know these things too well for my own liking, and I wish I could
expert
walk
witness.
it back.
That's expert Scientology witness level.
That is expert Scientology witnessing.
Knows the typo, not because the words are spelled wrong, but because it says 10 and not 9.
Yeah.
The one quoted is number 9.
Wow. Okay, let's keep going before I get
Alrighty.
even more spooked out by that.
Yep.
Sorry,
Okay,
guys.
so Jamie
Didn't mean to
showed
scare you.
remorse and ethics change in the interview with the committee and agreed to pay the arrears that are owed. When asked by the committee what he plans to do to resolve the situation, Jamie stated that he would pay the full amount of arrears owed and is willing to do whatever was needed to take responsibility for the situation. It is also noted that Jamie presented all evidence, asked for exactly what steps he had taken to get this situation resolved. Blah, 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 blah.
Jamie, you're a little weasel. Okay.
Exactly.
In other words, he presented a check showing that he paid money.
No,
Exactly.
that's coming up in the next paragraph. So you got to hear this.
my
I've never
gosh.
seen this before in an actual ComEv that they admit to the bribery in the ComEv, Rex.
Okay, so the recommendations for Jamie.
Oh no, you missed it. You got to say.
Oh,
Where does it say it? It says Jamie's contributions as a Scientologist were reviewed by the committee. He has donated toward the library campaign.
oh.
He is currently on his Introduction to Scientology Ethics extension course, has done some handlings on his family members to get them back on services, provided the Way to Happiness booklets in the community, and has gotten his stepson on services. So this guy is literally ticking off all the Scientology boxes.
This is them documenting that he is a Scientologist in good standing,
Yep.
and therefore, for all intents and purposes, Scientology doesn't care that he hasn't been paying child support. The report should be quote, filed with a yawn, unquote, as was done, for example, many, many times with Danny Masterson.
Right. Okay. So now we get to Kerry Reagan McPhee, the wife, the target of this actual.
Oh, but you didn't read the recommendations. I interrupted you. Anyway, he got told he has to do some amends, and he has to do what they call conditions, which all Scientologists do as a matter of course anyway, so it's not really a big punishment. And he has to pay back the child support that he owed,
which he said he already did.
Yeah.
To which they probably promptly regged the kid for to go on course. Oh my goodness. Oh.
Okay. So now here's the wife crimes placing Scientology or Scientologists at risk. The interested party pled not guilty. The committee finds her guilty.
Yeah. Whenever you're in a ComEv, always plead not. No, always plead not guilty, because they're just going to assign you guilty anyway. But later on, you can say, no, I pled not guilty, all that nonsense. But they're going to, if you're getting a ComEv, you're guilty already. Just getting a ComEv means you're guilty. There's not a lot of not guilties that are upheld unless they're kind of like throwaways. They'll give you one here.
So my approach was always different. I would plead guilty on some to show like, hey, at least I'm taking it seriously. But I'm not going to like walk myself under the bus either.
Oh yeah. Those points, those KSW points 1 through 10, those are so subjective that you could plead not guilty to all of them, and they'll figure out some way you're guilty in a whole weird abstract way that had to do with 7.3 million years ago and some other nonsense.
Yeah. And let's not forget that when you're receiving a committee of evidence, the panel of members of the committee of evidence have all of your ethics files.
Yeah.
So, and I think
they're supposed to study them thoroughly.
That's important to talk about, because they have, that's actually the only time, correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, but that's the only time that somebody outside of the ethics department, the police department, has all of those files and can go through all those reports as part of that investigation.
Correct. Until you're declared SP. Then they'll just go to OSA.
No, they just go up on the notice board.
Wherever.
That's when Dave starts telling the real good stories about
on the internet. Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Okay, so here we go. So now we get into the meat of Kerry. By failing to effectively handle the dispute with her ex-husband and not following church policy for such matters, Kerry has put her son at risk, as he has not gotten the appropriate child support payments which are necessary for his proper education and upbringing.
They're throwing her under the bus. They're calling her guilty because she didn't get him to pay by talking to them, but because she talked to somebody else, and then they talked to him. Now, this is what I'm talking about. This is arbitration, guys. This is arbitration as Scientology considers it. This is an arbitration procedure that they consider what they're doing for these people that are doing the lawsuits.
Right.
Yeah. Needless to say, this is not an unbiased approach.
No.
Oh, my God.
Claire, how dare you? Okay, 2, refusal to uphold discipline. The interested party pled not guilty. The committee, of course, finds her guilty. Kerry initiated action on her divorce agreement 4 years after the agreements were violated without first obtaining IJC approval, which there was ample opportunity to do. Kerry still did not write to IJC and receive a reply, despite being urged to do so by church terminals in clear violation of church policy. In fact, IJC has no record of ever receiving such a communication from Kerry.
Mic drop.
Oh my God. Okay. I'm just going to skip to the next one I've highlighted. High crimes. So this is the bringing the civil suit. The interested party pled not guilty. The committee, of course, finds her guilty. In September 2009, Kerry filed a claim to civil agency for arrears in the amount of $29,000 4 weeks before Tyler's 18th birthday. While she did not directly file suit against Jamie, her actions did bring a civil suit against the Scientologist for the non-payment of bills. Kerry requested permission from the IJC to pursue this matter on the 26th of October 2008 after the motion had already been filed with the state for over a month. Okay, Scientology claims that this particular, one of their weasel points is that this particular high crime doesn't say you can't report to government agencies, that you can't report to law enforcement. It talks about a civil suit. They are finding her guilty of this crime for reporting to a government agency.
Mm-hmm.
This
That's
is
unbelievable.
all she did was go to the government agency responsible for collecting child support that is in arrears and report the fact that she had $29,000 of outstanding child support over 4 years.
And the reason she didn't do it before was because it's about to tick out. Like she's about to run out of time if she doesn't do something. He ain't paid in 4 years. He's waiting for the dude to turn 18 so he can bail and be free and clear. She did the last possible ditch effort thing to get her dough.
Yep.
Right. Okay, so she's also charged with violating the 10 points of keeping Scientology working and pled not guilty, but of course they found her guilty of that. And then they come to the additional findings. In her interviews with the committee, Kerry showed no remorse or responsibility for her actions and the consequences of the legal proceedings she instigated. She also failed to present any of the evidence asked for by the committee. She felt she was entirely in the right in her actions, and when asked by the committee about her responsibility for the situation, she failed to see any way she could have done anything differently to avoid the current situation. Now,
Completely.
What is the current situation? The current situation is that the agency that's supposed to collect and enforce child support payments has been informed that the child support payments were not being made, and now the guy paid.
Right. And what evidence was she supposed to bring? A lack of check? I mean...
Okay, it goes on to say the committee has noted that Kerry is absolutely within her right to take action against Jamie in this matter and should have done so immediately upon his violation of the divorce agreement. And after receiving a reply from the IJC, the committee looked into Kerry's contributions as a Scientologist for the last several years. She has gotten her son onto the basics court. She has made some contributions to the IAS. She has promoted the way to happiness in passing out DVDs and booklets and disseminated Scientology to a new person and got them in for services at the local church. Findings, recommendations for Kerry Regan McPhee. Kerry is hereby placed under a non-interpolation order for blatant disregard of church policy in the handling of her ongoing dispute.
That's a gag. That's basically the equivalent of a Scientology gag order. It basically means if you say anything to anybody that makes them upset about Scientology, you will be declared a suppressive person, period.
Yep.
And let's not forget that in this case, her child is a Scientologist. If she's declared a suppressive person, the child will be made to disconnect from his mother.
Right. So this document, like I said,
I did want to tell you one thing before we kind of wrap it up. Did you see who the chairman of that was?
I did.
Jamie Butterworth?
Just saw.
Yeah, Jamie Butterworth used to be a Sea Org member at the Ant Base, and he was offloaded for being a piece of junk Sea Org member. And he, I don't know if he was a public or if he's a Sea Org member doing this committee of evidence on this person, but as far as I know, he is no longer in the Sea organization.
Yeah.
He's just a public, like a civilian Scientologist.
Yeah. Well,
But,
this is the same thing that always gets done, Mark. You know, the selection of the members of a committee of evidence is a strategic decision made by someone to ensure that they get whatever it is outcome they want.
Yeah, that's Mr. Jamie Butterworth for all
There
of you
you go.
out there.
Yes.
And just to make clear, a non-interpolation order is literally one thin step away from a suppressive person declare.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it is, in fact, intended to be a kind of a, okay, well, we're not going to do this suppressive person thing right now, but we know this person is going to say, this is bullshit, I disagree, blah, blah. And as soon as that happens, we then have the perfect
It's an out.
motivation
Yeah.
to declare her an SP.
Yeah, because a non-interpolation order, a gag order, cues it up so that no further action will be needed. All they need is one report
Yeah.
from
And
one person, and
and
that's
they-
it.
They also usually do it on somebody who, like, this is a major, if you're a Scientologist and you get a committee of evidence, that's a very, very, you could be declared a suppressive person at the end of this thing, depending on how you play your cards. So the fact that, like, she was basically like, I'm not having any of this. I didn't do anything. This is ridiculous. And so that's the non-interpolation is like, oh, you're going to get it now. You might not get it. You're going to get it now. You're going to understand where this is at when we're done with you. And I don't know what happened with this person. I don't know what her current situation is, but hopefully she's a long way from those guys at this point.
Yeah,
I hope
She's
so,
got
too,
13
and her kid.
This is 13 years old. So,
right.
I mean,
Yeah.
this kid's old enough to have his own kids at this point.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, again, not to keep reiterating the point, but she was completely at their mercy in relation to her son.
Yeah. And also, if you think about this in the context of someone's filing a lawsuit against Scientology. Like, Scientology's done some dastardly deeds, and now you're going to file a lawsuit. You think you're not going to get declared a suppressive person for filing a lawsuit against them? This woman complained that she wasn't getting her child support, and they slapped a gag on her, and they essentially she got in more trouble than the guy who did the crime.
Right.
On the Scientology end, because she was the victim, and this is a perfect example of how they treat victims. If you're the victim of a situation and you got the wrong end of the deal, and this whole time Scientology did diddle squat to sort this out. As soon as she got the authorities involved, they jumped all over it, and you bet they might have even arranged that money for the dude so that he could pay it back.
Exactly.
That's how far they would go to do this. They'd tell another Scientologist, hey, this guy needs to borrow $30,000 from you. We've got a legal situation that's threatening the church. Give him $30,000. You owe him $30,000. Okay, good. Give that to the wife and do all that. And then it's like, yeah, he's already paid you. What's the problem? Why is this a big deal?
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. That's exactly the sort of handling that.
And then
would
the
have been
gag
done.
order is for her. The gag order is for her, and it's also for anybody else that may do this. That they now know when you don't see a lot of committee of evidences in Scientology, but when they do them, they get their money's worth. You know, it's for the people involved. It's for the people who know them. It's for anybody who sees it. They see, everybody who saw how this went down knows. If you mess with them, they'll mess with you back. Even if you're not a Sea Org member, they can still inflict pain and suffering on your life.
Yes,
Yes.
completely. And I think you mean that it's not common for a committee of evidence to be held on a public person, right?
No, I mean, even at the international headquarters in the 80s and the 90s, they were handing out ComEvs like candy.
Oh, yeah.
You could get a ComEv, this week, and you could get another ComEv next week if you played your cards right.
Yeah,
and then
sometimes-
Many times.
Sometimes you could have.
So I'm saying,
there were
you could
times
do-
that people had multiple ComEvs.
I was going to
going
say, if you're a
concurrently.
real real baller, you can be double billed on a ComEv. You can be on a ComEv for this thing that flapped, and you can be on this ComEv as well.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But then in the last, in the late 90s and the 2000s, it was like, we're not even going to waste the time writing up the ComEv. Dave would just deal out the punishment. He'd be the jury, the judge, and executioner all in one right then, saying, hey, you know what? You're going to the RPF, and that's the end of it. There's no ComEv. There's no investigation, paperwork, CSWs, file folders. No, you're going to the RPF. It's all done. Poof.
Yep.
Well, I got a ComEv in the hole.
You did?
Yeah.
Did it say SP Mike Rinder?
I don't remember. I don't know that I ever saw anything. I just, you have to show up and answer for your crimes.
Yeah.
In the hole.
And you did that. And was there a member?
And Jenny and I forget who else was. Maybe Russ Bellin and someone else. And they were at the conference table in the second conference room. The second conference room.
Yeah, the smaller one.
The smaller
one that had the door on
table.
Yeah, the one that had the door on it.
Right. And
next to CMON's office.
No,
he's talking about the CIC conference
hallway.
room.
Oh, you're talking about data.
Conference room.
Yeah,
data.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it was actually a bigger table. And I'm sitting all the way on one side, and they're all sitting all the way on the other side. And they're like, "Oh, how do you plead?" I said, I don't plead anything. No, one way or the other, I'm not pleading. I'm not pleading. I'm not begging. I'm not doing or saying anything.
I'm not going to cooperate with this charade.
That's exactly what it was. Just like
this is a giant waste of everyone's time.
I'm declared SP already. What are you going to do to me now? Like,
right.
And,
they're just messing it.
It was
all
so
up.
stupid. And Jenny says something like, well, don't you want to
resolve
plead
this
mitigation, like anything that you have done to mitigate this? And I'm like, nope, not a thing. Don't have anything. I have nothing. I got nothing to give you.
And for translation,
Mike took the fifth. That's essentially taking the fifth in Scientology. Just like, this is a giant waste of time. Just do whatever you're going to do. I don't even care. Because that was the thing I was going to tell you, Mike, is on my last ComEv, I don't even remember what it was. It was that I cared that much about it. But then when they gave me the recommendations, I was just like, okay. And they were like, well, you only have this amount of time to do the recommendations. I was like, okay. And then I just didn't do anything. And then the time came and went. And I was like, okay, I get it. I get the system now. Because that was the thing at the end base to say, oh, you're going to get taken off post. I'm like, you're going to take me off? I'm the shoot crew chief. You're going to take me off post. You are. Gerald Duncan, you're going to take me off post. And be like, I know you're not. You can't do that. And it would be a giant flap and who's going to do my job? I was like, I'm not going to do any of this. It's all nonsense. And I got demoted, and then right after that, Dave demoted every single person on the property. So I was like, oh, that didn't mean anything either, I guess. Whatever.
and just to set the context, I'm sure that Jenny and Angie both reveled in writing a report on this meeting that you had with them.
Oh, yeah.
And this is what they would translate as Mike is showing no remorse whatsoever.
Exactly.
No,
blah, blah,
I know
blah.
what he said. There's a thing that they call in Scientology when you sort of like, you don't care what's going on and you're just indifferent. It's called a service facsimile. And I remember that I don't know if LRH ever said this, but David Miscavige would say that Australians are particularly good at this.
Oh, Hubbard did say that.
Oh, he did? Hubbard did say it?
He definitely did.
are notorious for Surfax, and South Africans are notorious for something. I can't remember what.
Yeah,
No
so that was a thing that Dave would say all the time in meetings. Like if Mike would say something, or he'd throw some shade at Mike, and Mike would just be like, "Whatever." You go like, "Australians so surfacky, just and I'd be like, that has to do with the location that you can be that way. I was like, that's the weirdest thing I've ever heard. I think it's just Australians just being sassy and cheeky, just like, oh, I don't give a shit about this. That's what it is.
Yeah, maybe.
Just being a little bit more. They know this ain't the end of the world. Okay, you're upset. I don't really care. Whatever.
It'll all be okay.
It'll be fine. We'll be fine in the end.
It'll be fine, mate.
Yeah. No wuckas.
No wucking furries.
No wuckas.
Okay. I wanted to make another point about this because it wasn't just the evidence that while Scientology constantly claims there is nothing that forbids any Scientologist from ever reporting anything to any authorities anywhere, and they say it over and over and over, despite everybody pointing out this is exactly what your policy said, and here is a perfect example of how they interpret their own policies and that high crime, which is what we have all said 100 times, but it's nice to actually have it in their own writing that it says this.
And you can see how they tried to spin it like, well, she's perfectly within her rights to get this sorted out. She shouldn't be talking to these people before we tell her she can be talking to these people. That's
Which they never would have told her was okay.
No, they would have let it drag out just like the husband was doing. They would have waited until the birthday and then be like, yeah, go ahead, write whoever you need to write to.
Yeah. I mean, there's no way there weren't multiple reports that
I don't
she
know.
wrote on this. And
I don't know about that, but regardless, they didn't do anything all the way up until this point. That to me, that's the telltale. Like if this could have gotten sorted out, it probably would have been if there was an easy way for her to say, hey, I need my dough.
Yep.
She would have got her dough. I still think to this, from seeing all this, what little we know, I think she did the exact correct thing. And in the end, her actions are what caused it to get resolved. That's my take.
Exactly. You're exactly right, Mark. Okay. But the second point I wanted to make was that this farcical procedure is exactly as you said, Mark. What Scientology tells courts is the procedure that they are using for their religious arbitration.
And this is a perfect example of how it's a kangaroo court. This victim was the main offender and got a heavier sentence. No, a heavier sentence to be, if you weighed them up in Scientology, getting a non-interpolation order, that is one step away of being declared a suppressive person.
Yes.
Yep.
So she got, and what the husband have to do? 150 hours of amends. Okay. And he's also going to phone that in.
He's going to hand out some way to happiness booklets or throw them in the trash and tell them I spent 8 hours handing out way to happiness booklets. And all the people were so excited when I gave it to them. Oh my God, you should have seen them. And they told me that it had changed their lives.
I gave out 10 books and only one of them didn't throw it away.
That I saw.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh
so
my gosh.
I brought another document with it for us to take a little look at, which is the Committee of Evidence, PL. The actual policy of Scientology, written by L. Ron Hubbard himself,
green on
in
white,
all its fine glory. And I'm going to pull this up now because I highlighted a few things. In the
sorry, that was me. I was putting it on my better layout. Sorry.
Okay, you go ahead, do it whatever you want to do.
No, it's all good. This one's a little bit bigger.
That's what happens when you have two people driving the bus.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, three people driving the bus.
It goes off the edge.
17
goes off the road.
I'm gonna leave it right like that. I'm gonna walk away.
Run over the gas pump. Okay, so this is the actual Scientology policy letter, and I'm certainly not going to read the whole thing. It is long-winded, ridiculously. It's bloviating. It's just ridiculous. Anyway, so I highlighted a few things in here about this particular policy letter with respect to how it compares to what a mediation is. And I described this, courts have this view of mediation or arbitration, that this is a procedure which everybody sort of understands, and it's usually conducted by a retired judge, and the judge basically follows pretty much as a disinterested, unbiased party, pretty much follows the same kind of procedures as you see in a court. He hears evidence, interviews witnesses, and then comes to a decision about what who's right, who's wrong, and what should happen as a result. That is not what a committee of evidence is in Scientology. It is described in this policy letter, and you can see here there is a person called the convening authority who approves, mitigates, or disapproves the findings and recommendations of the committee of evidence, and can disband a committee he or she convenes if it fails to be active in the prosecution of its business.
Yeah.
Now,
this is key.
in the case of this Scientology arbitration, religious arbitration, the convening authority is the International Justice Chief.
Yep.
The International Justice Chief is employed by the Church of Scientology International. This is not a disinterested, neutral party.
Right.
This is someone who has a complete vested interest in the outcome being favorable to Scientology.
Yeah, and let's be fair. And also, that person is not the actual person who's being the convening authority. David Miscavige is ultimately being the convening authority.
Of course.
And the International Justice Chief is just a proxy. It's just it's
a large proxy, but a proxy nevertheless.
Yes. But either way,
a large proxy. I see what you did there, Mike Rinder.
he's a maxi proxy. Anyway, but yeah,
boy.
there's that person,
If
and
he
also
sat down with Dave, Dave would just disappear.
I can't even actually imagine those two having a conversation. No, seriously, honestly, I can't.
Or even being in
I'm
the
sure
same
they
room.
haven't.
I can't imagine that David Miscavige would sit down and say, "This is what you need to do." He would 100% say, "This is what is going to be written," and put this guy's name on it. That guy wouldn't even be consulted. It would be like, "This is the letter that you wrote to the judge," and then he would see it after it had already been seen by the judge. He might not even see it before that.
Yep.
Exactly.
Okay, so the whole next page is more blah blah blah. Okay,
There's a lot of blah blah blah.
Yeah,
there's a lot of blah 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 in this. Member, this. So actually, on the page before it says there's a chairman of the committee and a secretary, and those are two required positions. The chairman is supposed to basically be the person that asks all the questions and runs the meetings. The secretary is supposed to take notes and keep track of and organize the people to show up to appear and etc.
Yep.
The member, now, remember, they are following L. Ron Hubbard policy in this arbitration. And you remember, if you watched our earlier one, when we talked about who the arbitrators, quote unquote, were for the Valerie Haney arbitration, it was Kirsten Catano, Sarah Heller, and who was the third one? Kirsten, Sarah, and
Amber.
Amber. No. Phil Jones's daughter.
Emily.
Emily Jones.
Okay.
Emily Goodwin.
Yeah. So there were three people. L. Ron Hubbard policy says there must be a chairman, a secretary, and in addition to the chairman and secretary, they may not number less than 2 or more than 5. So a committee of evidence may not have less than 4 people.
Mm-hmm.
So they are violating their own policy letter.
Well, they're not. And so it's not that they're violating it. Arbitration is not a committee of evidence.
Yes,
It's
but
just
it is.
all
No,
made
there's
up.
No, they
They're
have
alleging
told
that
the
it
court.
no, they've established that arbitration is a committee of evidence. So this is, in fact, the policy that should be followed. And that's the other thing. I don't know how you can say a committee of evidence is our policy, but not then have that policy be attached. Because I think if somebody from the courts or the judge or anybody read this document, they'd be like, oh, this is not arbitration. Like, I think if you read this and understood it, you'd be like, that's 100% not arbitration.
Which is what any Scientologist who knows what a committee of evidence says.
Right.
This is complete and utter lies to the court on the part of Scientology to invent things that don't happen. They're not even following this policy. So
Right. And
So-
how this came about, Claire, was in the Garcia case.
right.
Garcia's lawyers said, okay, so and the court said, look, if you're going to have an arbitration, you have to have some sort of way it gets conducted. How does this thing get conducted? And Scientology came in and said, it is conducted according to the Scientology procedures. And the Garcia lawyer said, yeah, what does that mean? Like, how does this work? And they came in and asserted to the court that it was dictated in Scientology scripture that the procedure is a committee of evidence, that it is laid out in the policy letter by L. Ron Hubbard, because this says it is the procedure to be used for all disputes and all matters of justice in Scientology. So they are the ones that claimed that this is the procedure that gets followed.
Right. Yeah.
So-
No, I understand. They're just lying through their teeth.
Yeah.
Yes. Their lips are moving.
So maybe SPTV needs to write a knowledge report to the RTC reports officer.
No, I think you just have to
outlining all their violations of the policies on committee of evidence, including mislabeling it as arbitration, and copy in every single judge in the United States of America.
Yeah, I think what we need is we need more ComEvs. So if you are a Scientologist and you have a copy of your ComEv, please send it to us. Go to blownforgood.com, go to Mike's blog, send us what you have, because the more of these that we can show, because Scientology can make up a committee of evidence and then submit it to the court. But if we have ones that are historically been printed and there's no way for them to, go in their Wayback Machine and flip it around, then we could provide this policy letter and a sampling of their committee of evidences, and then send those to these judges or lawyers or whoever and say, here's what you need. Because I guarantee you, if a lawyer had, so we can even do a video about this ComEv policy, but if you did if you showed what happens, like the example of the one we showed, I don't know how you could get a more perfect example, but if we had more like that, it would be even better. Yeah. But that's how you can convince somebody that this is ridiculous, by just being like, no, look at, this is what it is. This is how they did it. And
here's 200 committees of evidence that we've reviewed. You can see that every single one of them is 100% biased in favor of Scientology, and is used to silence and gag victims, muzzle them, and while leveraging their family over them to force them to comply with Scientology.
The other thing is, if those Scientologists who do the committee of evidence get it wrong, the convening authority can
we're getting to that.
Oh, he can just doctor it anyway. He can just stack the deck any way he wants it to be and make those their recommendations.
Right.
So the system is, it's sort of like there's so many outs, so that no matter what happens, because after these people do the committee of evidence, then it has to be approved by the convening authority. And then the convening authority actually has to submit it to somebody for it to then get approved. So there's like 4 or 5 steps built into this system where Scientology won't be the ones getting in trouble, no matter what.
Right.
So evidence, the spoken word, writings, and documents are to be considered as evidence, unless it's provided by Val, in which case we will not consider it, because that is en theta. That is bad news. Your stuff we're not interested in. Okay,
There's
findings.
one
Yeah.
other thing under that. It says
Yeah.
that the e-meter is
Is not.
to be used.
Yeah.
So that's a very interesting ripple, and that could be another interesting ripple, because a lot of that evidence that they're going to stack against somebody came from sessions where the e-meter was used. So I'm not sure if there's something in here that says if you already have something, or maybe you have a report from the session and that's a written word. I don't know. I'm just saying that also could be picked apart by lawyers.
Right. Okay. So findings. Well, you saw the findings of that unfortunate woman. The full report of the committee accompanied by a tape recording of the evidence. You may recall that
They
Valerie
said you couldn't
was
record
handed
it.
a pen and paper in order to take notes. She was not allowed to record. The Garcias requested permission to record their proceeding and were told they could not. Scientology absolutely recorded this.
Yep,
100.
very definitely.
There's multiple recordings.
If there was no recorder on the table in front of anybody being turned on and off, it doesn't matter. It was being recorded.
Well,
And
we built
Absolutely.
microphones into all the conference tables in all of the conference rooms on the international base. We installed microphones in every single conference room so that no matter which meeting room was gone in, you could record those. So I'm pretty sure they have that at OSA as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, along with, briefcase recorders, clock recorders,
Pen
every other
recorders.
sort of pen
Yeah.
recorders, and every other sort of clandestine recorder that you could possibly imagine. They've got them all.
Yep.
The recommendations tells the convening authority exactly what disciplinary action should be taken and how. It doesn't say, it makes a decision about who's right or wrong, or whether someone is more at fault or not. No, this is what the disciplinary actions should be taken.
Right.
Endorsement. The findings now have added to them the endorsement by the convening authority, Mr. IJC, Scientology official. Okay. Oh, I missed something here about the disbanding of the committee. I'm going to highlight it when I put it on my blog. But if the convening, we all know this. I'm not going to bother trying to find it in there. We all know this. And Mark alluded to it earlier. And I said, oh, it's coming up, but it didn't. If the convening authority believes that the committee has failed to do its job properly, they get disbanded and they get investigated for the same crimes.
Yep.
Yep.
They get in trouble for not dealing out the justice to the person that they were tasked with doing.
Did
so.
somebody say witch hunt? Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and I was just gonna say, at the end base, there was let's say there was 10 people who didn't get in trouble a lot. And if there was a committee of evidence convened, you knew one of those people was going to be on that comment
Yes.
because they were the only ones that were kind of like squeaky clean, or that Dave just didn't get all over their case a lot. I mean, some of those people later on weren't those
Right.
people, but
Yeah.
there was always like a team of I would always remember Russ Grealick would always be, if there was a ComEv in gold, Russ Grealick would always be one of the members or the
Yep.
chairman or something
Yep.
like that. And I was like, this guy's shit must not stink that bad, because he is always the one dealing out this stuff.
Oh my goodness.
That is funny. That's true. That's true.
And it would be it was almost like if you convened it and Dave approved of those people, they were on the list that they could be the ones that would be doing this. You couldn't put somebody who'd gotten ComEv on a ComEv to be one of the members. It always had to be people that were doing pretty good and that were loyal to the Sea Org or loyal to Dave.
Yep.
Okay. We've got a bunch of people who have written various things. I'm going to try again to keep this sort of focused on the subject.
Yeah.
Because I want to turn these into podcast episodes.
Awesome.
Christy's busily working away on that. We're waiting to hear back from Apple and whatever. But if I just read stuff out that's irrelevant, it doesn't work very well for a podcast. So I want to try and keep them focused on questions that hopefully are about this subject. But
Sounds
I
good
don't
to
see
me.
any yet.
But also people just asking questions is okay for the podcast, because
Yes,
the
that's-
people
that-
listening might have
absolutely.
the same other questions.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All I'm saying is just the ones that say, hey, from wherever,
Yeah.
or, you know.
What about the one about the Claire Bear hoodie? There's people in there wondering about where they're going to
Yeah,
get their
come
Claire
on,
Bear
Mike.
hoodie.
You know what?
People need to
Screw
know
it.
where
We're
to be
just
able to
doing
buy
them all.
that.
We're doing them all.
You have to say
We're
that
doing them all.
before. You have to say that. To be fair, you have
Yes,
to kind of say that before we do
I
the
hear
video,
you, Mark. I
because
hear you.
otherwise that's kind of like, you did a
Then
little bit of
people
a switch.
feel like we
Cheated
well,
them.
Yes, there you
I'll
go.
put them up fast and I'll take them down fast.
Caveman, YouTube's automatic subtitles often say Miss Cabbage instead of Miss Cabbage. Always makes me laugh.
Yes.
Yes.
Hey, Mike, how about I read them and you answer them? That way we're sharing the
Oh,
load
wow.
evenly.
And I'll put them up.
Yeah,
Oh,
there we
wow.
go.
What a
Teamwork makes the
team.
dream work. Woohoo. Johan Amanu. Question. Marriott Lindstein's SP story deserves 2-hour talk. You do it, please?
Absolutely.
Yes.
When Marriott is ready, we've been talking about this for like 5 years.
Yes, me too with Marriott. Yes, absolutely.
We will
Marriott and
absolutely
Claire
do it.
used to do like prune roses on
Shelley
renovations
Miscavige
day.
trained Marriott and I on how to prune Shelley's roses. Did
Right.
you know that, Mike?
No, I did not know that, Claire.
There you go.
But
Raf.
I think that we should get both Dan and Marriott. I think we
Yes.
should,
That's a great idea.
because Dan is also an amazing guy, and he was one of my dearest friends in the Sea Org. We have
Yes.
a lot of stories.
He edited my
Yes.
book.
Yeah, I know.
Yes, absolutely. Rafe, sorry, Mike. I wrote a harsh comment in response to your daughter's short on YouTube. I couldn't contain myself.
Oh, don't need to apologize to me.
Yep.
Do some more.
Yep. Mary Gabrielle Southers. Hello, friends.
Hello, Mary Gabrielle.
There we go. Ashley Wright. Hello from Boston. How can we protest Scientology's tax exempt status? My local government rep said he can't act if the IRS doesn't change their code.
Well, your local government rep doesn't know what he's talking about, because Scientology is in violation of the IRS code already. Most specifically, the part of the code that says an organization cannot be in violation of public policy and maintain its tax exempt status.
There we go. Miranda Brinker. Question. What are they going to do now the roads are confirmed to be closed Friday night in UK?
Run around like chickens with their heads cut off.
Mhm.
Organizing, getting passes to the people lined up at the end of the road waiting for a pass to. I don't know what they're going to do. It's going to be
the
chaos.
next
We'll
commenter
see.
knows. The next commenter knows exactly what they're going to do.
Okay.
Riley Reed Slatkin, aka COB ILF. St. Hill RPF working 24/7 to build new road from scratch.
I stacked those up right next to each other. I
that
thought
is
that'd be
wonderful.
fun.
Oh my gosh.
That is
what an
that
amazing
is
comment.
a very Sea Org solution to the problem.
Yes.
Yes.
You don't need to read that one, but thank you, Pam. I appreciate
I
it.
read it earlier.
Yes.
Oh, you did?
Yes,
Yeah, I
there we
said.
go.
Oh, that was the one you read
Yeah,
earlier
yeah.
when we first started.
Yep. Elsie, would Scientology put people in the protest to make trouble for Alex by stirring up trouble and making the protesters look bad, acting like they are actual protesters?
Sure.
Yeah.
And I told Alex, beware of the Trojan horses that get sent into the protest.
Yeah.
You know,
and
the other
actually, I just see Apostate Alex is here now. So there you go.
You know, the other thing they've done routinely is OSA will send somebody there that is videoing it. And so they'll video it and they will cover, and they'll cover private conversations. They'll record all kinds of stuff. And that person who has the video camera will be like, oh, I'll send you a copy. I'm going to post it here. I'm going to do this. And then a lot of the people that went there to video, it'll be like, well, he's got a better camera and his footage will be better and all that good stuff. And then the protesters don't video anything. And that person that's pretending to be the protester videoing everything works for OSA. So they're the only ones who have any footage.
Right.
So if you're doing something like this, use your phone or use a camera and record it. Do not count on anybody recording anything.
Right.
Yep.
Good answer.
Yep.
They're such sneaky devils sometimes.
Susan Cook. Thank you, Susan. Amelia Dijou. Thank you.
Oh, I like that French. Dijou.
Sandra
Excellent.
Hartley. Thank you for the super sticker. Free Xenu project of Farsec. Just wondering, is that goldenrod paper hemp by any chance? If so, I think I know a good use for that paper.
No, but it's funny. We showed 2 different documents and they have formats. So if you have a justice action or a committee of evidence or a court of ethics, it's printed with that specific color ink on goldenrod paper. And then we showed you a policy letter from L. Ron Hubbard, which is green on white. It's green because Hubbard loved the color of money. But so that is, so those are green on white. And then if you have a Hubbard like technology or bulletin, that's red on white.
Because he loved blood.
Because
Yep.
he often saw red. I don't know if that means blood, but either way.
Okay.
All right, Fritzy 74. Hi from a wet South Africa, 1:18 a.m.
Wow. Brave.
Yes.
Congratulations on the Springboks victory.
All right. Miss Sunrise Dawn. What made you finally decide to blow? Apostate Flappy McFlapface Alex had the road closed and little Davy of the fake space Navy lost his chute.
Oh dear.
Yes, April. Which, by the way, if anyone does decide to blow, OSA, any of you St. Hill people that are suffering, we're here for you. We got
just
you
give
covered.
us a call. Go to the
Alex knows
aftermathfoundation.org.
what to do. We've got you covered. April in Amsterdam. I'll be watching Alex's live stream of the protest. You guys watching from the U.S., take note that we turned our clocks back over the weekend. You 3 are looking great. Thanks for brightening my Monday. Perfect. Yes, and I did get an email from somebody about the.
Where's your thing, Mark? How come your little?
Oh no, he
thumbs
had it
aren't
just
going?
now. Do it again, honey. Thumbs up. To the side.
What are you talking about? Oh, you
it's
mean my
okay.
thing? Oh.
Yeah.
I don't see anything.
Oh, there we go.
yeah. There you go.
Now I see something.
Yeah.
Your head just exploded.
I know.
Oh,
and I
boom.
dropping
Boom in the house.
loads. BT Zachary.
Sandra Hartley, thank you for the super sticker. Telperion, when the Aftermath Foundation takes on the job to help someone blow, do you call it a blow job?
Dun, dun, dun,
No,
dun.
we do not. Cece's Comfort Cooking. I had an IAS officer, Teddy Braden, threaten me with a non-interbulation order if I didn't donate to the IAS.
Teddy Bregan was one of the biggest asshole regs ever.
Yeah.
I don't know where that guy is now. I hope he's like flipping burgers at McDonald's.
That would be a wonderful thing to do instead of yelling at people to give money to Scientology.
I couldn't think of what else
I would
to
like
say.
to note, I actually love cooking burgers, just so you know.
So do I.
Okay, Wonder
Speaking
Woman.
of comfort cooking, we did a whole video with CC. We're going to talk about it in a live we're going to do later this week.
Yes, so if you haven't subscribed to CC's Comfort Cooking channel, get over there and do so, because coming soon, there's a Headley family collaboration with Miss CC. All right, Wonder Woman. Question: how did Scientology want her to handle the situation instead of what she did?
That never is actually explained and never will be explained, because what they want is no potential flap.
Right.
But how they ever get that without there being a potential flap, this is the catch-22 that goes on. Unless there is a potential flap, the situation doesn't get handled. They don't want a potential flap, so they will prevent the potential flap, and the situation will not get handled.
Right.
It's just crazy.
It is. It really is. That's how all these things happen, is because they're not willing to do the real work to handle people's problems. But when their problems bubble outside of Scientology and they make Scientology come under fire, that's when Scientology starts getting real excited about the project.
Yep. Exactly. Joshua Cox, forgive me if I sound inconsiderate, but I find all of these Scientology stories fascinating, including all of yours. This all from an outsider point of view.
Well, that doesn't sound inconsiderate
No,
at all.
not at all.
That's why we're doing
Not
it.
at all.
We understand you guys want to hear about this. And also, I watched another video of somebody covering the Danny Masterson trial. I could not believe how much this girl knew from doing the research on the video. She knew so much lingo and so much inside and out of Scientology. And I thought, that's good. It's good that she knows that.
Yeah. Scientology would love to be isolated in a world where they can do whatever it is that they want to do. And we're breaking down those walls. Mrs. T. Rush, shouldn't everyone suing Scientology have their attorneys present? Have their attorneys present this as evidence that their arbitration, quote unquote, is a joke? In other words, educate the judge at the outset before the suit begins. Would that work?
It could work. And they do try and educate these judges. But as I've said before, there's a lot of barriers to educating judges. Their workload, their attention span, their intelligence, and the fact that they are automatically inclined to be in favor of arbitration. So it's a bit of a hill to climb, but yes, the reason that I wanted to do this YouTube today and show this and put it on my blog is that exact reason.
Yeah,
the other tricky thing, I am sending this to all the lawyers, and hopefully they can use it.
Yeah, the other tricky thing is Scientology. This whole thing, the policy letter that we showed you, the green on white policy letter, that's considered scripture, religious scripture. And so Scientology argues, well, you can't pick apart our scripture. Like, you can't.
We interpret our own scripture.
Exactly.
You don't have a right to interpret it or tell us what it means or what we should or shouldn't do because of the separation of church and state.
But these recommendations are a whole nother thing. That's not scripture. That's the outcome of one of their procedures. So that is a little bit more, there's a little bit more wiggle room on the other side of it than Scientology.
Yep. Britzy74, thank you for the super sticker. Britzy74 at Claire. I can't find Claire Bear merch. Hard in South Africa. Please go to our Blown for Good merch shop, and it's
link
right
in the
there.
Description.
Yes, there you go. We got you covered. Bo Beats, can I commission a Modigliano portrait from your son of Big Belly and his best bud, freshly glued head bobble mic? Also, what are your all favorite colors?
I'm not answering that.
Oh, okay. Well, sure. Yeah. Message me, Bo Beats. You know how to find me. There we go. Lori plays. Scientology can't get out of their own way with putting everything to paper. They just can't help themselves.
Yeah, that's also the other reason why we don't have a lot of these committee of evidence things, because they don't print any. This one's from 2010, so it's 13 years old. Even that I consider a very late edition that's still in circulation.
Yeah.
Because I mean, we got our suppressive person declares. We got them, but we got them in 2005. So.
Yep.
You know, that
we've heard of people receiving committees of evidence in several different locations recently, like within the last month, but they don't show them the document. They don't show the person accused of crimes the document, nor do they show them the findings and recommendations in any of the multiple cases I've heard of. So if any of you out there have them, definitely, as Mark said, please do send them in to us.
Okay, we got to rip through these.
Okay. Salty Beach Girl, Laurie in the house. I'm dead. No wookin' furries. New fave. Blah, blah.
No wakas.
Free Xenu Project of Farsec. I like how L. Ron Blubbard made green type as his personal order print color. You know, the color of money. There you go. Yep. Catherine Olson. When I worked in the galley at the Hollywood Guarantee Building, I personally was ordered to put Mike Ellis, International Justice Chief, on a diet before he had to appear in court. True story. There you go.
You heard it here, folks. We can't get
Catherine,
much closer to his food source than the person that cooked the food.
Yep.
You could have starved him for 2 months, Catherine, and still wouldn't have been noticeable.
Oh boy, Mrs. T. Rush. The truth is, their policy is, quote, do what's best for Scientology, period, unquote. It doesn't matter that they contradict themselves constantly. It's the ultimate psychopath's guidebook. Precisely.
Yep.
Helena Ann Hiddle. Hey, Mark, I was in color guard from high school and through college. Would gladly hit DM with a flag. Hit me up.
That is in reference to a story in my book where David Miscavige was almost killed by a bunch of teenagers from USC.
Yep.
Got to read the book.
Yep. Salty Beach Girl Lori again. The work ethic from ESO is coming back to bite Scientology. SPTV tirelessly bringing the truth. Thanks as always to our terrific trio. BTs activate.
Yeah.
Good job, Claire.
Thank you. Ann Taylor, question. If your committee of evidence punishment is RPF, are you demoted or do you RPF in the day and then do your regular job at night?
That would be amazing.
The RPF is a full-time activity.
Yeah. RPF is the RPF is what is it? What do they say? The FPF is where we make it. The RPF is
what we make it.
Is what we make it. It's basically a full-time like reprogramming camp, and it is from dawn to dusk and then some. And then also you could be on the RPF for a year, you could be on the RPF for 10 years, but when you're done with the RPF, you usually kind of go into a lower area or like some place where they can kind of keep an eye on you to make sure you're fully cooked on the the old
I don't
RPF
think
thing.
there's actually a current real world equivalent that accurately is an analogy to what the RPF is in the Sea Org.
Yeah, the prisoners actually get more time off,
right?
And
they have more freedom,
better food, and more sleep than Sea Org members, not RPFers, just regular Sea Org members. So if you're in the prison camp of the Sea Org, that is sort of another thing. I mean, you're obviously it's easier to escape, but that's what we're here for. That's how we help. But it's rather shitty. If you're in the Sea Org member, if you're a Sea Org member and you've been assigned to the RPF, that is most likely the low of your Sea Org career.
Yep. All right, Britzy74. How do I order a Claire Bear hoodie, signed books, bobblehead, and fake Davy to South Africa if Amazon doesn't deliver here? Don't go to Amazon for any of those things. Mm-hmm. Go to our merch stores, Mike's merch store, the Blown for Good merch store, and then the spshop.com. We do not sell any of those items on Amazon any longer. We fulfill them ourselves so that we can all sign books, personalize, etc. So there you go.
And our merch store operates in multiple countries, so they produce it locally in your country if it's a shirt or a mug or something like that. Yep. But we'll send you the stuff from here most likely.
Yep.
If it's a doll or a bauble.
Ann Taylor. Oh, we already did this one.
Sorry.
Yep.
That's okay. JK in Toronto. Mike, were you ever at the Toronto org on Yonge Street that is now falling apart? What about a vid on abandoned buildings and city cores?
Yeah, we should do that one day. But yes, in answer to your question, I was at the Toronto org on Yonge Street. One of the, quote, ideal orgs. In fact, that and the Los Angeles org are the only two organizations in Scientology that were, and New York, New York, Toronto, and LA were the only organizations that were deemed to be big enough to not require purchase of a new building for the ideal org program. And Toronto has been empty for, I don't know, 10 years or more. I guess it's probably more than 10 years now. I'm sure that there's some Canadians out there that know, with the idea that they didn't need to buy a new building. They just needed to renovate the one they've got.
And they also bought that property for the advanced organization as well. So sorry, Canada, but either you don't have enough dough, Scientologists aren't handing over enough cash, or there ain't that many of you for them to even bother doing anything in Canada. That's just how
evidently
it is.
You're full of smart people who are not susceptible to joining a cult.
Welcome to the club, Canada. Welcome.
Good job, Canada.
Doing a good job there.
Yeah, but there's a few others of them, like Philly. That's another one. They bought the building there, and it's been sitting empty in Dave's home city for like 10 years.
Even Buffalo, when they built it in the original time they built it, we got I was still there in the Sea Organization working for Golden Era Productions. A year after it opened, they said, "Oh, our projection screen got burnt really bad." And then we were like, "Oh, that's horrible." And we said, "What happened?" They said, "Oh, they put it up in the ceiling next to the heater. And so when they turned the heater on, they cooked the projection screen. And when we unrolled it, it was," and I'm like, "It's the summer. Why are you guys putting the heater?" And they're like, "Oh, no, this happened like 6 months ago." And I'm like, "Well, why is it a problem now?" They're like, "We've never used the room that we built, this auditorium. We've never used the room since we've been in the building. So the first time we put this projection screen," I'm like, "You've been in the building for a year. You've never used the room?" And they're like, "Yeah, there's nobody here to show anything to."
Wow.
So,
yeah, but that's what happens. Like, they've got these places all over the place. Chicago, that's been done since last year. Miscavige announced at the New Year's event there were going to be 3 new Ideal orgs opened in the first quarter of 2023.
Yeah.
Not one. Chicago is still sitting, boarded up.
Didn't they have a sign and they sort of uncovered it? And then what was that event? Yes. They were going to open it and then they showed, the sign. And then,
and then they covered it back up again. I mean, there's a bunch of these places. There's another one in Port Elizabeth, apparently, that's all done and sitting empty while they're paying rent in a rented space out in the boonies somewhere.
Yeah, crazy. Maria de Jesus Gutierrez, thank you for more podcasts.
You're welcome.
Escaping the cultiverse, eh? Comevs are time sensitive per the policy. Weren't the arbitrations like the Garcia one long and drawn out? Another violation of the policy?
Well, I'm not sure the Garcia one was, but the Valerie Haney one, when they get after 2.5 days and say, sorry, see you next year.
Yeah, that's a good point.
The resumption.
The best part is if you could document how this is stacked in Scientology's favor and also how Scientology are carrying these out in contradiction to their own policy letter on how they're supposed to be carried out.
Right.
Yep. Mrs. T. Rush, let's not forget Paulette Cooper had a man pretend to be in love with her, moved in with her for years, all along, reporting to Scientology.
Yep. Oh,
exactly.
Paulette Cooper isn't the only one that's been done with.
Yeah.
No. Young Matador drove past St. Hill yesterday. Marquee looks enormous.
It is big.
It's giant.
Oh, there's no question. It's big.
It's bigger than the building that they wanted to have the events in. It's twice as big as that building, maybe even more than that.
Yep. Cody Mack, just wanted you guys to know you're loved and we have your back. Question: has David Miscavige ever actually confronted or shattered any suppression whatsoever?
He did have some suppression in his ankle during a basketball game he played with Tom Cruise and Dustin Hoffman because he shattered his ankle.
Skadoosh. Wah, wah, wah.
David Miscavige got rid of us, guys. That's what he's doing. That's what he's working on.
Yep.
He's got a target. He's supposed to get rid of at least 2.5% of all Scientologists every single year, and he's right on target. He's actually a little ahead of a target since SPTV came around, so we're working with him.
Yep. Exactly. Xenu, you're a homeboy. Sorry, reason number 5, space opera wrong. It wasn't glycol. Who would freeze someone in antifreeze? It was green Jello. There's always room for Jello.
You know, it's funny. Xenu, you're a homeboy. He might actually know who I am because I would say that all the time back in the day. But I would say, there's always room for J-Lo. I wouldn't say Jello. I would say J-Lo. Claire remembers this. I used to say this all the time.
Because I would roll my eyes.
And that was before I knew she was friends with
time.
Leah. And Mike, you should be proud of me because that one time we went to that show, I didn't say that to her when we were face to face.
Yeah.
Sorry
you knew
about
your
that.
homeboy. Oh, we already.
Wait. Just for anybody that doesn't understand that reference to glycol, that is part of the OT3 story that Xenu had all these thetans frozen in glycol.
That's true.
Now, how you freeze a thetan in anything when it has no mass, no wavelength, no location, no nothing.
It's not in the physical universe.
In
so
the
how can it be
universe.
frozen by something that is physical universe?
Yeah, unless you have a Friesiumagager, and then you can freeze them all. If you've got a Friesiumagager, you can freeze whatever you want. It doesn't matter what it's got.
So
It's
Xenu,
got
your homeboy, Mark is asking, do you have a Friesiumagager?
I'll hook you up. Xena has told me all about the Friesiumagator. Anyway, but yeah, the best thing is I want to do a video about the planes because these planes that he put all these and that was the other thing. He froze them when he got here.
No.
Yes.
No, they were frozen for transportation.
Yes.
On the DC-8 spaceships.
Yes.
I'm telling you, Mark, they were frozen on their home planets.
They were. They
were.
It doesn't make sense that you would freeze them pre-shipment. It makes sense.
They were captive.
That's the only way you could capture them was to freeze them in glycol.
I know, but why wouldn't you do the volcano thing back on where they came from?
They don't have volcanoes.
They don't have volcanoes, and they weren't going to blow it up with hydrogen bombs on their own home planet.
So
and it was a depopulation effort as well. So none of these people were going willingly. None of these thetans were going willingly.
So it was like a destination
genocide.
Mike,
didn't he
like,
say
we're going to go do it over there?
He took all the criminals.
Yep.
The smart people, the artists. There were
people who didn't pay their taxes.
There's also loopholes in that because didn't he call them in for a tax audit?
Yes.
Well, the smart people ain't going in for tax audits. They have their people do that. I'm telling you, this story's got tons of holes in it. Okay, if you call me in for a tax audit, I'm going to send my tax guy. I'm not going. He can sort that out. That's his job. Get him frozen in glycol and sent to DGAC.
Yeah, honey, you're inserting way too much logic.
Yeah, we're gonna smoke. We're gonna go through that whole thing in L. Ron Hubbard's words and his recording, and we're gonna pick it apart as a series at some point.
Okay, sounds good. OM22. Are Scientology exempt from GDPR rules because of religious status and freedom of information requests?
I don't know.
I don't know what GDPR. What's GDPR? What country is that?
It's a European-wide thing on data protection.
Okay, this is my So this is my. I have a good point about this.
Oh, excellent.
The pre-clear files of Scientology violate these things because
even though you don't know what it is.
No, I know about I didn't know what it's called. The GDPR. I know about the privacy restrictions, and you're not allowed to keep sensitive information for more than a certain period of time. And the information that Scientology is collecting is the most sensitive information a person would ever give over to anybody, and they keep it forever. So there's got to be something about that that's not kosher.
Yes, and I think that this has created some problems in some areas in Europe, but I'm really not familiar enough to be able to.
So Apostate Alex made this comment here. I'm going to put it up real quick here. No, they are not. I'll do a video on this soon.
Yeah,
there you
excellent.
go.
The thing when I watched a whole thing about this. The pre-clear folders, the staff folders, the ethics folders, all of those, the student folders, all of those should be illegal in Europe. Every single one of them. And there's no way you can have Scientology without all those things. So they got problems.
All right, Caveman. Whoever wrote the Captain Davy descriptions on the SP Shop website deserves a raise. Yeah, there. Oh, whoops, other way. There we go.
I always do it wrong.
That's him. That's him.
Look at this. Look at this, folks. I've been getting the big bucks here. I got a raise, and I had it still. And I still had it on me. They paid me in 50s. Paid me in 50s.
My God! Look at that.
He's making up stories. I gave that to him.
That's what I'm saying. I got paid in 50s. What do you mean? Who did the descriptions?
You did.
Who's got the money? I stuck my leg under my chair, and it went down and smashed my leg into the chair, so I couldn't pull it back out. Holy moly! Got too
Never
excited.
told moment with Mark. Oh my goodness! Oh, and he's our comment guy, so we're stuck with this now. Hold on
no,
here.
we're good. I'm good. I just literally got smashed. Thank you, caveman. I appreciate it. Even a caveman can recognize those descriptions are amazing.
Stranger than fiction. Question: if mom decided it was okay to be declared and decided to drag dad to court to get child support, would she be fair gamed?
Absolutely.
100%. Yep.
Oh yeah. Essentially she was already kind of fair gamed within Scientology for doing that.
Yep.
Right.
Duchess Diana. Question: is there info written somewhere that we could copy to send to our state reps?
Didn't you do a post about that?
Is this in reference to the IRS?
Yes.
Yes, there is. If you go to my blog and search Taylor Hawley, Taylor Hawley wrote a dissertation about Scientology being in violation of public policy.
Even better, we'll put a link to it in the description of this video, and you can just click right on that.
I'm going to make a note,
Claire,
of that.
I got it. I'm making a note. Taylor Hawley.
Everybody get on this. There's work to be done.
Yep, we're on it.
I'll direct.
Okay, awesome. All right, Donna Rose. Still don't get turbulations, but get the picture. Oh, non-interbulation order. I think that's what Donna is talking
we never
about.
explained that. So interbulation in Scientology is when you have interbulated theta. You have it's interbulated theta. It's basically like bad news. If you say anything about Scientology that's bad news in Scientology, and nobody wants to hear bad news in Scientology. So you get this thing called a non-interbulation order, which means if one single person reports that you upset them over talking about child support or how this thing was a kangaroo court or anything like that, you're declared as suppressive.
Yep.
Interbulation is one of the great Scientology words that actually does not exactly translate into anything, and it's one of the hardest to kick because
it might be the
easy.
Might be the what is it? Schadenfreude, or what is that word?
Schadenfreude.
Yeah, it might be that for Scientology.
It means bad, upset.
I think the closest, there's a few different words that come close to it. I think the most current version is triggered.
Yeah.
But there's differences. But yeah,
anyway.
Not interbulated is broader and covers much more. Anyway, there you go. Oh, Christy's in the chat. Hi, Christy.
I love this one.
All right, Samantha Jane Mitchell. I love how Mark just trolled Mike and Claire into trying to make sense of the incident story. I know.
Like as soon as you were like glycol can't even be frozen, I'm like, that's the part you're picking apart. That glycol can't be frozen. He took billions of people 9 weeks of light years here to Earth from another galaxy, but the glycol is the thing that's not making sense.
Yeah. Good point. Helena Ann Hiddle. Mike, does David Miscavige get auditing or do coursework?
Neither.
He writes the courses.
Yeah. He's too busy to do anything like that.
Yes, very definitely.
He's too busy doing everybody else's job.
In fact, he had Jan Sims sent to a committee of evidence for telling him he should go in session for counseling in 1992 or 1993. Apostate Alex, I just heard due to protest plans, Scientologists are now asked to attend the IAS event on the 7th dynamic. This is no longer a messed event. Joke.
Yeah, no. I am genuinely interested on how this unfolds because it's not going to be good for them.
Oh my gosh, look at that. Jan is in the chat. She said, yes, that is true.
Jan?
What?
Yes.
Jan.
Look. Yeah, look right here.
Oh, she really is. Yes, that is true.
See?
Wow.
Oh my
God.
Also, this Jan, after David Miscavige commented her for trying to get him in session, he broke his leg. And you know what Jan did at that point? She skedaddled right out of there.
Good job, Jan.
That's when she shattered that's when he shattered the suppression I was talking about.
Yep.
It was this exact time.
Yep.
Wow, what a callback. Thank you, Jan. Appreciate
Boom.
that.
Thank you, Jan. Yes. Awaken. Ha ha ha. Matt's caustic comments. You know, Mormons and JWs don't really get on, right? Maybe I'll try Nexium, though. Would be about my luck for that to happen. Okay, I guess we're missing some context there.
That might
Jennifer
have
Brabham.
been a response to other chats.
Yes, it's all good. Jennifer Brabham, super sticker. Thank you, Jennifer. Bruce Nielsen. Fortunately, here in Singapore, we only have 2 public Scientologists.
Can you imagine if they got in a fight? Oh man, what a conundrum.
It would be a
Who do you
massive
report who
Singapore
to?
event. Yeah, there you go. Maria de Jesus Gutierrez. I wasn't kidding about wanting ghost stories during the IS Spectacular. Springboks were heartbreakers, and I love ghost stories.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
It's
then.
Halloween's coming up.
You gotta
I
you gotta
think-
read Advance Mag.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
Or just read any. Oh, she said she loved ghost stories. I was going to say, if you love horror stories, just read anything Hubbard wrote. It's a giant horror story.
But Advance Mag always had those OT phenomenon
We were-
stories.
we
were
about
talking
finding
about
a
those,
parking
yes.
spot, and
Yeah.
I found my keys, and the lights were all green and whatever. And some of them are ghost stories.
Yeah.
Yes.
I got shot. There was a stray bullet, and my IAS pin deflected the bullet and saved me. If I wasn't a member of Scientology, I'd be dead right now.
There was a disembodied Thetan who was occupying my bathroom
Yeah.
and
Yep.
wouldn't let me in. And it turned out to be the son of my husband from the lifetime in 1723.
I want to do.
I like your voice on that, Mike. That's
Yeah.
a good approach. You want to do what, honey?
I was
before
just
read
gonna
this
say
one?
I want to do like SP phenomenon stories. Like I went to
Oh, yeah.
Chipotle, I ate that big burrito, and I didn't think I was gonna make it back to the house, but I made it, and I made it, and it didn't spill a drop. Didn't spill a
Nice.
drop.
All right, free Xenu project of Parsec. Apostate Alex has a board of review doc, if that's any help, but not a ComEv. Yeah, send that to us,
Yeah,
Alex.
more the merrier.
We'll look at it.
If he's already got it, he's probably already covered it.
Yep. Necessary trouble. How are people chosen to work for OSA? Are there certain characteristics they look for? Who chooses them?
Well, there are certain characteristics that are required for working in OSA. No connections to any intelligence agency, government agency, anybody who might be anybody that could possibly be a problem for science media, anything like that. How they are selected is, you got to understand that in the Sea organization and in Scientology organizations, the fight for people is probably the most vicious activity that goes on in those organizations. Everybody is always, doing anything they possibly can to figure out how they're going to get people, because they're always supposed to have more people to man up this or man up that. So they lie, cheat, steal, grab people in the middle of the night. It's like a Hunger Games.
They're actually, people are called coins within the personnel department. If you have a person that you recruited, you can use that coin to trade for another coin, and they call it am I lying?
No,
They're
not at
called
all.
coins.
It's
They're
in the
called
policy
coins
letter.
so that they can trade and transact. So and that is, I'm going to say, besides money, the main stock and trade of the Sea organization is personnel. That's how you deal with other organizations. You should trade people back and forth. And a lot of times, the people that are getting traded downs, you don't want those guys. They've been in the league for a while, and they're not that productive. They're not going to help your. You're not going to help your lineup at all.
Nope.
You're not going to win the World Series. with
Yeah,
them.
you're not winning Fantasy Sea Org this week. That's for sure.
Oh my gosh, Catherine Olson. Mark, were you there when Frank Fenn did a video showing how empty Buffalo was when the Gold Shoot Crew was there?
If it was in 2004, I was, but I don't remember. I mean, I remember we would get video reports from these places, and we'd see how empty they were. But usually, the shoot crew were the ones who'd make lots of people, no people turn into lots of people by
Yes.
putting prop people in there, dressing the staff up as people in off the street or whatever. But
Right.
I've seen many an empty video of many a Scientology organization.
Yep.
Even back then. And that's when they
Yes.
were full compared to today.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
no, the new levels of nobody in the organizations, this is an all-time low for Scientology. Like the Canada thing is a perfect example. There's nobody in Canada that's going to go to any of those buildings. If they finished them tomorrow, they'd be empty the next day. So it's like, who cares?
Right.
Yep. JK in Toronto. Yeah, I've lived down the street for 12 years and it's been empty the whole time. The actual Toronto org is now in the middle of nothing.
Yeah, and that's the other
It's
thing.
actually in Guelph.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, then.
Well, but even the one in Sweden, is it Sweden or Denmark
Malmo.
that they moved, or Malmo, they moved that organization in like the industrial district. Like it's
Malmo.
it's
Yeah.
literally where like the people who make the popsicles you eat, it's next to them. It's
And
in a factory.
The cardboard manufacturers,
Yeah.
Yes,
cardboard
exactly.
boxes.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's ridiculous.
Sonia B, the Toronto street is pronounced young. The building looks decrepit these days. There you go. Young.
Well, consensus from the 7 people in Canada that know about Scientology know that their buildings.
Nathan
shit.
Power.
And
First
not one of them
super
is
chat.
a Scientologist.
Oh,
Thank you,
what a
Nathan. That's very
cutie.
generous of you. We
like
appreciate
your little
it.
cutie there.
Oh, yeah. Look at that.
Yeah. What a sweetie. I can't really see, but Stephanie Stewart. I take SPTV and true crime show in the car through Alexa. Makes 2+ hour trips so enjoyable. Guests can watch on phone while I listen while driving. Better than podcasts. Love you guys.
Oh,
Nice.
Awesome.
I like that. Yeah, I gotten a lot of
Yay.
people are writing in about the podcast. We got more. If you listen on the podcast, give us a review and like us or whatever it is. Give us a review. I think that's it. Review and
That's what you want on podcasts. Reviews.
Yes, reviews.
Mike
We
That's
want,
knows.
we want subscribers and likers.
there
Yes.
you go.
Yes, there
Perfect.
you go.
Not lickers, likers.
Likers.
Well, if you're a crack licker and you want to like something, you can do both. They're not mutually exclusive. Not a sheeple. I also would
all
like
right.
to pay for you
it's
to learn
pronounced
English.
simply as young. Love you guys. Okay, gotcha. Nice. And Taylor, Mark got paid and he is out of the dungeon.
For
Woohoo.
now.
Yeah, probably not lasting long.
Cece, it's true. All the folders kept are illegal in the UK. Let's ask our reps to follow that.
See, done my
Yep.
research.
And it's not just the UK.
No,
Yep.
it's all of
This
Europe.
came up as an issue in Hungary or somewhere. I remember Peter or someone was all over this in Hungary. I
Yeah,
have
we
to go
should
back and
cover it.
look
We
that up
should
and find out
we
what's
should
happening
find
with that.
out. Well, hey, Apostate Alex, when your protest little thing is done, pop over into the privacy GDPR as we call it, and let's get all the deets on that.
Let's get the deets. Oh my goodness. All right, Chocolate Velvet. Hello to Mike, Claire, and Mark. I never comment on YouTube, but I had to say how much I love you guys. Mike, it's so wonderful to see you laughing and having fun. Lots of love to all from Chocolate Velvet. Thank
Nice.
you for
Thank you
being
so much.
here.
Yeah, is that the person that was at the Howdy Con a while back? Is that the
I don't-
same?
I don't know. Oh,
You know who I'm
that
talking
rings
about.
a bell. I do. I think so. If Chocolate
If it
Velvet,
is Chocolate
you know who
Velvet,
you are.
put in the comments and just
or
let's just-
just message us if it's you.
Let's just talk about how my memory is more amazing than even I thought it was.
Yeah.
Oh, look we got Jeff in the house.
Scientology Money Project. Are the execs who are put in the SP hole considered permanently untradeable as coins?
You would think
Well,
they were, but they
but
were
they're
not.
not.
They
No.
were given when I used to work in the cinematography department, like what's that? Angie Blankenship, Jenny Linson. That every once in a while they get traded down to my area to clean paint buckets. They clean out the Jesus paint. And for those of you who are new or you watch Mike's channel, you don't watch my channel. Jesus paint buckets are paint buckets that we get recycled paint from like donation centers from different cities. And when you open up a 10-year-old bucket of paint and you open that lid off and you give it a good whiff, you go, oh, Jesus. So that's what we would call Jesus paint. And so whenever Angie or Jenny or one of these cats would come down from the hole, we'd put them on the Jesus paint buckets, because I'm not throwing away a perfectly good bucket. But if one of these executives could scrub it out for me, I got a brand new bucket on my hands here.
But also, Jeff, these days there are so many of these people. That's sort of all that's left.
Yes.
Like when all you've got is people who've been busted from executive positions and rejects, then you're sort of looking for who's the least damaged goods out of all of, like, who could I possibly make something out of that isn't completely useless?
It's literally like if the NBA was still playing a league, but basketball was illegal and no one was allowed to play it. How would you get new players into the league? That's how it is in the Sea Org. Nobody's joining up for the Sea Org right now. And if they are, they're usually kids of people, of former Sea Org members or wealthy Scientologists. There's not a lot of new, fresh blood going into the Sea Org.
Right. And another example is personnel policy for executive positions. One of the qualifications is that you've never tried to escape from the Sea organization. And yet there are many top executives who have tried to escape, such as Mark Yeager, Sue Wilhare, who remains was in Religious Technology Center after she escaped, Marty Rathbun, that applied to when he was still there, on and on and on. They're just running out of resources. So there you have it, folks.
Yep.
And with that, we have finished.
Oh my
Yay!
God.
Awesome.
Look at that.
We did go a little longer than we normally do, but it was a lot of questions tonight, and we did have about 3,000 people in the chat at some point.
Yep.
That's awesome. No, that was a great topic to cover, and I'm glad we did so.
Yes, and as I said, I'll make sure that these documents and things are all on my blog, and there is a link in the description of mine and on Mark's, and we'll get Taylor Holly's on there and everything and all the good stuff, so you have access to it easily.
Yeah, if you're watching this on the Blown for Good channel,
who put that up there?
I did. I'm going through these as we're talking. I'm just putting them up.
Holy tamale, you did that for me?
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh my!
You never do.
I never do anything for you.
No, Mike never does plugs. Mike doesn't plug himself. He doesn't. He just doesn't. So I'm plugging it. I'm putting it up here for him. I'm making him do it.
There you go.
He's funny that way.
That's what friends are for.
Yeah. So if you're watching on my channel, head on over to Mike's channel and you can pop a like or a subscribe on there. And if you're watching on Mike's channel, well, you know what to do.
Yes.
Hey,
special thanks to Catherine Olson for moderating for us tonight. We appreciate it.
I was at 44,800 and something subscribers.
Oh, golly gee willikers.
So I gotta be really getting really close now.
You're what?
Cracking the big 45.
Wait. Oh, nice. Okay, let's see. We are 46 away from 46,000 subscribers over at BFG.
Yeah, we could easily both tick over 45K and 46K in the next few days. So
yes,
if not tonight, come on, buddy.
Oh yeah, come on, get with it, people.
According to YouTube, over 50% of the people who watch videos on this channel are not subscribed to this channel. So
should we wrap up with some giveaways? 2 giveaways.
Yeah,
is that okay with you, Mike?
Sure.
Sure. Awesome. Okay, so first giveaway will be merch from Blown for Good merch store. So get in the comments and type merch me.
Do that Amy thing that she did?
I don't. Okay.
Apostate Alex supposedly knows how to do that as well.
Yeah.
Somebody emailed me like, StreamYard can auto pick it for you. You don't have to do that.
Yes, I know. Yeah, we'll figure that out.
Thanks for the super sticker, Allison. That just came in just now while you were.
Okay, awesome.
Merch me. You've got a bunch of merch me's.
Mark, you pick the winner for this one, and then Mike will do your book, and then we'll wrap up. How about that?
Nice. Okay. Well, there you go.
Stacy Toms, congratulations. You get merched. Shoot me an email, claire@blownforgood.com with a link to whatever you would like from the Blown for Good merch store. And I will send you a giveaway link for that.
Congratulations, Stacey Toms. You've been merched.
I love it.
Okay,
Awesome.
so I'm doing my book.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And you get to purchase. Watch this.
I get to pick. Merch me, tee hee.
I already merched you, Christy.
That's-
You have
yeah.
something coming tomorrow.
Take it easy. I'll merch you later,
Okay.
Claire.
Well-
Everybody get in line here.
You gotta say book now, not merch.
Well, that's okay. Mark, that was under.
No, I just put that on
he
there
put
because
that up
Christy said
we
merch
were
me.
laughing at Christy. Yeah. So
Okay.
book me. Now you're going to say book me, everybody,
Book
and
me,
Mike
book
will
me,
pick
book me.
the winner. And
No,
this is
you
for,
pick it, Claire.
Book me
Oh,
or blah,
okay.
blah, blah will also qualify.
Blah blah blah. Yeah.
There you go. And this is for a signed copy of Mike Rinder's book, A Billion Years. All right. So I'll do a countdown. 5, 4,
Countdowns are
3,
so 5 minutes ago.
2, 1. Don't make me lose count, honey. Okay, here we go.
You were counting
Peace
from
out.
Peace
5.
dog. Okay, peace dog. You can go to my
Frequent
blog.
flyer.
Yes.
Go to my blog and click on the contact me and send me a message. And
Oh,
I will send you a book.
Yay. Awesome.
There is a mirth in my closet.
yeah. What?
That's the Pink Panther, Mark.
Okay, then.
Have you not watched the Pink Panther?
Not in a while. Not in a while. And also, I might have been fairly young when the Pink Panther came out. I'm sorry to say.
I'm sorry. I have all these old references to old
Well,
stuff.
that's okay. I do know. I am aware of the panther that is pink.
Yeah. Well,
Nice.
and by the way, just a plug for old stuff. Last night we watched Rocky, the original Rocky,
Oh,
with Jack. because
Yeah.
we're taking him to Philly on Wednesday.
Oh, perfect. So he can climb
But-
up the steps.
So he knows what that's all about. So that was a really good movie.
Yeah.
Surprisingly good.
Hey, Stallone
Sylvester
wrote that
Stallone
movie.
wrote it. Yeah.
Yeah. It was,
It
that
was-
was all him, man.
Yep. Surprisingly good.
I don't mind saying he has milked the hell out of it over the last 40
It also won,
4 or 5
it
decades.
also won the Best Picture Academy Award.
At the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
The
nice.
first one. Yeah.
There you
I mean,
go.
they're still doing spin-offs of it today. So, and he's still getting checks. So
Exactly.
good for
I know
him.
Apollo Creed is still going.
Yeah.
Or
And
Creed
Scientology
2 or Creed something.
And
Yes.
Scientology was only able to get a little teeny bit of that through Frank, his brother. Otherwise, he was unscathed.
Yep.
Yep.
There you
Yep.
go.
All right, everyone.
Cool.
Thank you all for being with us this evening. We have a lot of fun doing this, as you can tell.
Yes,
Yeah.
we do.
This is-
We would do this. We would talk about
We
this
do.
stuff in our private lives
We
in the
do.
living room. We'd be sitting on a couch somewhere. And for years, I would always say, this is the thing we should be videoing to put to YouTube. This-
Exactly.
just the conversations between us, people would learn so much about Scientology. It wouldn't feel like they're having to learn, but they would learn. They would just learn it over many videos. They'd kind of get the idea of the insanity. You can't. L. Ron Hubbard did say one accurate statement when he said, "What is Scientology?" L. Ron Hubbard said, "Well, that would be like the entire contents of the Encyclopedia Britannica in 50 volumes." He said something like that in that Tony Hitchman interview, and that is actually truth. He wrote an insane amount of nonsense, and it takes forever to tell you about it.
Yep.
All
Thanks
right.
for bearing with us. We love you all.
Yes. Thank you all. And we will see you again next time. Bye for now.
Bye.